So today I've got all Natasha Denona products and I'm really looking forward to trying a very natural, high purr, high gen, high glam look, combining all of those high products in the Natasha Denona range. And I'll be starting with this very brand new product, which is the Beautifier. I'm going to apply this exactly the way Natasha Denona suggested. So this will be my base. I'll be going in with concealer and then I'll be going in with a face palette. So really light coverage today, just to see if I can get that natural, no makeup look, and whether this really could work on my mature skin. I've been so curious to try this and I cannot wait to see what happens, although I am a little bit nervous if I'm going to be honest. And if you're new here, hi, my name's Hannah, I'm 47, I'm not a professional, I'm just somebody who really does love makeup very much, and here on my channel I like to share with you new products, reviews, looks, anything I think you might be interested in. If you think you'd enjoy that, please do like and subscribe below, it really does help my channel. And if you could comment below, I would love to talk with you, and that really helps my channel too, so I'm ever so grateful if you do that. And onto my skin, I've got fair to light neutral undertone skin, and I've got mostly combination skin, so mostly dry, I have got combination skin, mostly dry with a slightly oily T-zone, but my skin changes a lot with my age at the moment, so a little bit unpredictable. Anyway, that's enough about me, let's get on to this video. So starting here with this Beautifier. So this comes in 4 shades and I got 01 Light. This is talc free, vegan, cruelty free, and it's made in Italy. So this comes in 4 shades and it retails for £47. And a little bit of information about the product. It says it encapsulates the luminosity of the cutting edge Hy-Glam primer serum, something which I have here, so I'll be trying these two together. Natasha introduces the Hy-Glam skincare infused glow beautifier, a talc free all over face glow powder packed with skin loving ingredients for a flawless glowing skin. This hybrid multifunctioning highlighter bouncy powder delivers a whole new level of innovation for your makeup routine. It contains natural oils, ginseng extract and aloe butter, which makes your complexion look and feels soft. And it has non-pigmented emollient pearls. The powder infuses the skin with flawless luminosity and a translucent glowing finish. It's described as being ultra creamy, lightweight and a very sheer powder which should feel weightless on the skin, and it's got a unique gel-like texture, so it should effortlessly glide onto the skin and melt in apparently. So I don't know if you've seen Natasha's video, but she is basically advising that you use her serum first and then this, and then you just leave that as your look, completely no makeup look. So you're just using this for a bit of a natural shine on top of your serum and leave it as it is. The alternative is you can mix the two together. Now one of the ways she does that is she puts a few drops of this serum actually onto the powder itself in the case and mixes it. So that's what I'm going to try today, something which does seem very wrong to be doing such an expensive product, but if Natasha's doing it, I'm guessing it's not going to ruin the product, because I don't think she'd be advising anybody to do that, so I do want to try that. So that's the other way of doing it. But the third way of trying it would be to use it as a normal highlighter, which I have actually tried, and this is a very beautiful highlighter, very natural, not too overpowering, so this can be used for that purpose, and I might try a little bit of that at the end depending on what the glow is like from underneath when I finish. So I bought this serum specifically for this purpose. I have never tried it before, so I can't tell you anything about this. This is going to be a complete first for me. This retails for £48. This is cruelty-free, paraben-free and also made in Italy. Described as a lightweight primer serum with a dewy, plumping finish. Hy-Glam infused skin with up to 72 hours of continuous moisture whilst balancing oil in the T-zone. Perfect for me because I have an oily T-zone. It says that it's made with ultrafine reflective pigments, cutting edge, skin perfecting compounds. Hy-Glam refreshes and restores the skin's natural balance whilst delivering a translucent luminosity that seems to come from within. It says this is suitable for dry, oily or combination skin, so that should be fine for me because I am a combination and I can be oilier one day, more dry the next. So sounds like a good one for me. And it says that this can break the cycle of overactive oil production, leading to stressed, congested skin. So again, that's something I would like to see. So this is something I'll definitely be testing in other ways underneath makeup and things over the next few weeks. But for now, I'm going to use this the way that Natasha suggested. So starting now on my face, all I have on is my skincare, which I put on over an hour ago. I've got a really, really light base of skincare. So that is an extremely light serum, which is more watery, a very, very light watery moisturiser, and my SPF. So my skin feels a tiny bit tacky from all of that, but not much. And it's been, like I said, an hour now. So I've got no concealer on, I've got no coverage, and somehow this has to form my coverage, which is worrying me. I will be going in with concealer second, but no foundation. And I do like to cover up all the redness, all the pigmentation. I don't know how this is going to go for me, and I do have an emergency foundation powder if I think this is just not going to work for me. So I'm going to give this serum a little shake. You can see it comes in a dropper. And I'll show you what she does in the video. So 2 drops onto the palette itself. There, can you see? I don't want to move it around too much because I want to keep it in the spot. And the brush I'm going to use for this today is this BK Beauty, the round foundation brush. This is 106. And now I'm going to swirl it around here. It feels like it's forming some sort of cream, which is probably as it should. And now I'm going to apply this onto the face. I suppose my first fear of doing this is that it's going to make me so glowy, it's just going to emphasize every single scrap of texture and look terrible. So far, this has a skincare smell, but I don't know if that's coming more from the primer. It's quite a pleasant, refreshing smell actually. But I don't think 2 drops would do my whole face because my brush and the palette already feels quite dry. So I might need to do 2 per side actually. So obviously this is not promising coverage at all, but what it is supposed to be doing is giving me quite a natural shine. So that is quite a big shine. Well, because I don't like to have texture emphasised, I can't say I love this idea at the moment, but let's just play with this and see what happens. So I'm going to go in with another 2 drops to do the other side. And probably my skin is just lapping this up because it's been an hour since I put skincare on. Can you see the shine that's giving? So it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's giving me a lovely shine, but I don't really want a shine emphasising texture, redness, pigmentation. Anyway, I need to stop being negative and assuming the worst here. I suppose this could be used in the same way you'd use the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter, the Hollywood one, and all the other products that are basically duping that at the moment, like the new one from Dior, giving you that glowy base, and then you can go in with a foundation, which is probably what I would be doing next, but I just want to do what Natasha did and keep this natural and simple. So I'm now going to go in with the concealer. So I've got 2 of the Hy-Glam concealers from Natasha in N1 and N3. So I'm going to start with N3. This is way too dark for me, but I use this as colour corrector and concealer, so just a tiny bit there only. But at the same time, because I'm looking for colour correction, I might actually use this in the areas where I want the most covered up and just see how that goes. I want to go in with the lighter one, which is probably more my skin tone. Probably end up just being like a foundation the way I'm going, because I can't actually stand the idea of no coverage. So using my BK Beauty A507, I'm just going to pat all of this in. And this is one of the concealers I enjoy the most in my collection. This is really mature skin friendly. It's one of those ones that really does not settle into fine lines. It absorbs like a lovely serum, which is what I prefer. I much prefer these serum based ones. They don't tend to give quite as much coverage. So if you're looking for extra coverage, maybe this won't work as well for you. Although in the same series, Natasha does have the corrector, which you can put underneath, which I do also have. I just don't like to double layer. So I think I'm going to go back in with the 106 brush, which might still have a bit of glowy product on. But I want to keep this look really simple, so I want the brushes to be reused and I want to really simplify the whole application process. Now that I've got a little bit of coverage coming from that concealer, I'm starting to quite like the way this base is looking with the glowy look. I'm going to go in with N1, which is the shade I use usually everywhere else on the face. And this is the shade I'd use more for brightening, so obviously it's lighter, so I want a bit of brightening there. Not that I need brightening with all of this glowy product on my face today. And now using this as well. Now I would never normally use a brush like this for this purpose. I'd be using a much smaller concealer brush to pat into those areas. But I want to really distribute the product because this is going on top of that glowy base. And really is the replacement for my foundation, as I said. So I want to spread it out, and I think it's spreading out really nicely actually on top of this base of, which is basically down to the serum, I suppose. The serum is a fantastic base because it really does sit lovely on top. I really do like the way it feels. It does feel very lightweight. I like the way it's looking. It's extremely smooth, not showing signs of being cakey, the foundation, the concealer, which it doesn't generally actually. This is giving me ideas now to use my more serum based concealers and skip foundation if I'm using a sort of serum based primer like I've done today. I really like that. So obviously I've used a little bit more concealer than normal, not an awful lot more though. And let's just see where I could do with removing any redness. I don't really think I'd like to change an awful lot there. I'm quite happy with it actually. So there is my full glowy base, probably the quickest, easiest base I've ever applied in my life, which is primarily made up of the beautifier with the serum and then quite a small amount of concealer. And I've got to say, I'm really loving the finish on it. I love it. I think it looks really nice. Now it's obviously not giving me strong coverage and I will need to take the shine down a bit because it is a bit too much. Wow, is that pretty? I mean, if you wanted to just use this as your no makeup, I'm completely finished. This is my base. I think this has improved the look of my face a lot. It's definitely evened out my skin tone. It's given me a lovely shine. It's given me enough coverage for me. I'm happy with the coverage under my eyes, as I always am with this concealer to be fair, and on my eyelids, but also I think it's really balanced out all of my redness and pigmentation. I'm really surprised, very pleasantly surprised with that. I think it's really good. Now I can't completely skip powder here. I do need to take the shine down a bit and I do need to set beneath the eyes. So I'm using my Delilah loose powder, which I really strongly recommend trying. This powder is as good as any of the other high-end loose powders for setting anywhere on the face. It's so good at blurring. It really is a fantastic one. I've got a discount code for both Natasha Denona and Delilah actually, so I need to remember that because I'm terrible at remembering to tell you that. So please find below discount codes. I've got 22% off Delilah, which you can use anytime. Delilah is one of my all-time favourite brands. And I've got 15% off Natasha Denona, which I do believe is just a one-off, which so you can only use it the once, unfortunately. But anyway, every little helps, eh? So going in with my powder puff with the Delilah. One thing I'd say about the Delilah is it really does fly at you when you go in, so you don't need to go in much. And just blend it into the back of your hand. And now I'm going to do my eyes only at first to just see how that looks. And see how much that's blurred and set the under eyes. It really is a really good powder. Now I'm going to go in and do my T-zone. I'd like to take the shine down off my forehead quite a bit. I really don't like having a shine there. See how that powder's worked so quickly? It's really good stuff. Honestly, I love this powder. And I don't want it on my chin. It looks really shiny on my chin and I will get oils coming through there, so I really want to stop that. But I don't think I'm going to put it anywhere else. So I've still got the shine on my cheeks at the moment and I'm going to completely leave that. So that's my full base now. What do you think? I'm genuinely shocked. I was geared up here with, I actually got my Makeup Forever powder foundation because I quite like to use glowy products like the one from Charlotte Tilbury underneath these powder foundations. I like the way they give that bit of a glow before you add the sort of mattifying powder, and I thought that's exactly what I'd be doing to take down the shine. I'm really pleased with this. I mean, the thought of putting something like a highlighter all over your face, especially at my age when texture can be so exaggerated by that, I'm really impressed. I'd love to know what you think. What do you think? Would you try this now you've seen it? Because at the moment I love it. I love the simplicity and I love the effects. I really do. Fantastic. So now continuing in this theme and keeping it very simple with the no makeup sort of style, I'm going to go straight in with this. I'm hoping I'll be able to use these powders without having powdered here because it is still quite sticky. So I'll be interested to see if that works because that's not something that normally works for me. So this deepest shade here I use as my contour. So I'm going to go in here with my BK Beauty 207 and take this down the nose. I'm going to keep this very simple. I'm not going to be particularly accurate today. So I believe this was Natasha's first sort of dive into clean beauty, this palette. So this sort of look, which you can probably put together in about 5 minutes, giving you this sort of more natural look, is something that is really starting to be on trend, a bit like with Merit or with Jones Road, which I really do like these products and these brands for that sort of quick, natural look. If you just want something really fast. I love to sit down and spend ages doing my makeup, but then there's some days where you don't, and you might just want that really quick look, but also you just might prefer that natural look, and this sort of style of makeup is exactly what you need for that. I'm using the BK Beauty 112 brush. This is my absolute go-to brush for this palette because look how it fits into each shade. I'm going to put a bit of contour there, and it is going on top of that serum okay without me powdering at the moment. I believe all of these are the sort of gel to powder formula, so they seem to be sitting quite nicely on top without me putting powder, so that's really good. Not clumping, look. I would normally expect a little bit of uneven application when I'm putting a powder directly onto an unpowdered surface when I've got a foundation. So yeah, it did feel quite sticky, not a lot, just a bit from the serum there. And this is bringing the sticky down and it's just blending very nicely. So these products definitely do complement each other as they should, all being in the same sort of line. They really are working well together actually. And the other brush I like to use is the Sonia G Classic Cheek Brush. Now I'm going to mix these two together, which gives me the perfect sort of bronzing shade. Tap off a lot because the kickback is huge on these. And now I'm going to fill all the other areas of my face where I'd like a little bit of bronze. This is not a brush I would normally use for this. That's the only problem with dipping in with the smaller brushes, is I think the application takes a little bit longer because you do need to work a bit harder to blend out with a smaller brush. I'd rather have a big fluffy brush for this. At the same time I want to pick up the right product from the palette, so if I take in a big brush I might be picking up products, colours I don't want, so safer I think. So slightly slowing down the process here. I just realised I went over the two darker colours then and not the two lighter, which is why I've got too much dark there. It's my fault, not concentrating. I'm just going to use the Buffer Pro brush to try and rescue me a little bit from applying too much dark there. Now with the two blush I'm going to do exactly the same. I'm going to swish over the two. And this powder is doing a really nice job of setting down my base. I'm working together so well. I love having a palette where it's all in one as well, where you just don't really have to think, you don't have to reach out for products. So this little set that I'm using today, this little trio, would make a very lightweight travel kit if you want to just be able to do everything quickly, easily and with minimal packing. And quick tidy up with the Buffer Pro, which I do think it needs, to be fair. These just need a little bit of extra blending out. Yeah, not too much at all. I'm just taking a fluffy brush. I think this is the 202 BK Beauty. It's actually worn off. Lots of use, this one. And I'm going to go into these two bronzers again, and I'm going to use this now over the crease of the eye. I'm going to keep it very simple and just do a one and done, which is pretty much what the eyeshadows in this palette are supposed to be. Just a quick one and done, but I do like to put a bit of bronzer up into the crease because I think that is just a little bit nicer. Again, not being massively precise. I don't want this to be a perfected look, and I want this to be a quick and easy look, so I'm just really whizzing this into the crease. I'm just taking it out a little bit there. And using my Merit No. 2 brush, the thicker end, which is the brush I use for all cream eye products, I'm going into the Everyday shade here. It looks a bit strange, like it's got a funny surface on it since I last used it. I don't know why. So I don't know if the powders have maybe got into it and caused that problem. Anyway, we'll see how this applies now. There's not much coming off the brush there. This is only about the third or fourth time I've tried using this. I think I'm actually going to use my finger, which I've got a feeling is what Natasha did. I feel like it's drying out a bit, you know. Anyway, oh yeah, that's a lot better. Maybe it was just a bit of surface powder on the top. I'm using the bronzers. Now I'll go in with the Merit brush to spread this out, basically all over the lid. I was just going to take Dreamy just for that sort of inner corner, but I'm wondering if I might try and use this beautifier to do that, to see if it can give me that, because I often use highlighters for that purpose. So adding none of the serum this time, just going in with the powder, and this is the BK Beauty 207. Yeah, I think that works. You see the pop of light I'm getting there in the inner corner? It's coming off a little bit clumpy at the moment. That must be where the serum is still sitting on the surface of the powder. So maybe if you do this, it's better to go to the outer edges where the serum isn't. So this is what I mean here. It's still very sort of soft and soggy where I applied the serum, whereas up here is still dry. So I'll try and take from this bit next. Using more of a dry finish here. Yeah, I think that picked up the product better actually. Might take a bit on my finger and just put some there. So it's like 1/3 of my lid, just for that bit of brightness there, because I don't like it to be too dark for me by there. Now it is emphasising texture a little bit too much on the eye, so I'd probably be more inclined to use this one just in the corner. And pop some under the brow. So using the thinnest end of the Merit No. 2 brush, I'm going to go into this one, which is called Statement. And this one is a really nice liner shade. In fact, I've dipped into this palette purely to get to use this liner as a liner. Really, really easy to apply as a liner as well, because it's creamy, blendable. But it does last. When I tested this the first time, I did a full day's wear test, and this liner, using it as a liner, stayed all day. So just slightly winging this out and taking it across, tightlining it with the lashes for a bit more definition there. Nothing too complicated though, keeping it simple. So I've just gone off camera now and I've done my lips and mascara, and in keeping with the sort of natural theme, I've just got a bit of gloss on really with a little bit of colour, but nothing major, so hoping that just fits in. But I'm really loving this polished look actually. So much more smooth and so much more perfecting than I was expecting this to be. I would like to try this though as a highlighter on top as well. I think you can see I'm getting quite a bit of a glow, which actually for me is enough. I really like that glow from within that it's left me with, because it's not that sort of unnatural highlighter which can look more obviously placed on the face. Because it's coming from underneath, It's just so much more natural. I really like that. So I do not need to add highlighter, and I wouldn't, but for the purpose of review I will, just so you can see how this would look if you wanted to add more, or if you just want to use this purely as a highlighter and not do it the way I did. I can tell you that where I added the serum is still quite soggy, so I don't know what that'll be like in the morning. So if you are going to use this method, I don't know what to say about that. I'll put a note in the comments section and let you know what this is like tomorrow. This video will be uploaded today, so that comment won't be there for you until tomorrow. So tomorrow morning when I do my makeup, I will try this to see if this is dried out or whether this is still soggy, because if it is, that does slightly put me off doing it that way. I don't really know how else to mix it that well unless you scrape a bit out onto a mixing palette and did it with the serum that way. But I do love the ease of use, the way that I did it. Anyway, I do have a dry side, which is here, so I'm going to take the dry side on my Sony G cheek brush, and I'm now just going to put some more highlight here. And you can see straight away that it's not an overwhelming highlighter at all. It really is a very natural, subtle one. I think it's a really mature skin friendly one. It's not overwhelming in the slightest. Bearing in mind this is going on top of the layer I already have. So this is almost a double highlight. If I was to do this, for instance, with the new Fenty, I would look completely bonkers, because this is much more of a soft, natural glow, really. I've actually gone in for a second layer there. And take some down the nose. It's really pretty, you know. I'm wondering though if having that little bit of serum in there is just helping it to blend onto the face nicer, more nicely rather. I really like this. I really like this. I think it's the most natural highlighter I've ever used. If you like a really big wow highlighter, you are not going to like this. But if you like a subtle, mature skin friendly, really natural looking glow, yeah, I think you'd love this. I think it's one of the best I've ever tried for that. I can never keep going back in and playing like this with a highlighter normally. So you can just add as much as you want. So I've added quite a lot, so that's how much. Now it's starting to look a bit more of a bigger shine. But I have added about 3 layers on top of what was beneath. Really impressed with this product. I love this look, you know. I was genuinely thinking I would do this and then say at the end, I've done it now, I won't be doing it again. What do you think? I really thought that's what I'd be saying. Not that I expected to hate this as a highlighter, but the method of using it as my base with the concealer only. So I am wearing zero foundation, which I haven't done for a very long time. No skin tint, no foundation, no corrector, just some concealer with this. And I think this base, along with the powders I've used in the face palette, have just worked together like magic. I'm really happy, I think it's the only thing I'm a bit upset about was using this shade here from the face palette, because it just seemed to be so dry. I really had to work hard to get this to work, whereas when I used this one for the eyeliner it was still really creamy, so I don't know what is going on with that. I don't know if maybe I can add a little bit of that serum like I did with the highlighter and try and get more out of it that way, but I don't know if that would make it worse. If anyone else has experienced this with this palette, I would love to hear from you. Just checking, this one doesn't feel dry, that one doesn't, that one doesn't. No, it's just this one. So I don't know what's happened. I mean, I don't know if it's my fault, maybe I've got some setting powder on top of it. It really does feel like the surface has dried. So when I update you in the comments with a pinned post, I will tell you how this was in the morning, whether it dried down. I'll also tell you how my face was by the end of the day, because I'm going to basically edit this now, so I'm not going to film a check-in for this evening. But I will tell you what sort of longevity I got from this look, because it is powdered down now from using the products in the face palette, so I would expect reasonable longevity with this. I think I will put my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush setting spray on, because I always would. So I want to be a bit more realistic in the way I use this, and I think most of us do use a setting spray, so I'll just put a bit on. And I will update you, so look out for that pinned post, which I'll definitely make sure is there for you tomorrow, so you can see what the longevity of this base was for me and whether it lasted, because when I used the face palette with foundation, it lasted all day on the eyes and the face. It was very good, and I don't see me getting any caking from this because I've only used concealer, so I'm not expecting to tell you there's caking, but it could just be that the surface starts to wear away because I've got such a small amount of coverage on my face. So yeah, I'll definitely give you an update on that. And while that's drying down, I'll just very quickly show you some comparisons with the Fenty, and somebody also asked me to compare this to the Chanel highlighter which launched in January, wasn't it now? I say highlighter from Chanel, it's actually the illuminating powder. Now this is hugely different, I can tell you already. This one I can only use underneath foundation because it is so bright. It's absolutely stunning, but it has to go underneath foundation. So I can tell you straight away, comparing this, there's a huge difference. So here is the Chanel, I mean you can see, look. It is gorgeous, but for me, I have to put this under foundation. And here is the Fenty in 01 Pretty Pearls. And this has a very different formula to the Chanel. It feels like I am touching silk. It's the softest highlighter I've ever touched. But this also packs quite a punch. In fact, this one I have to be extremely careful with. Now I can actually blend this one out, so I thought I would have to stick to using this one underneath foundation only, but I've been trying this out more, and I have found with this one that if I use a really good buffer brush like the Sonia G one, I can buff it out and it has a really nice finish. This is beautiful on the eyes, very impactful. So you can see two very different highlighters, because obviously the Chanel has got a sort of bluey tinge to it, and then it changes colour as well, sort of duo colour. And here's the Fenty. So now if I swatch this one from Natasha Denona that we tried today. So here is how the Natasha Denona looks. It doesn't actually look that different to the Fenty, does it, now I'm seeing them side by side? Do you know, that's really surprised me because the Fenty seems much more powerful. In fact, I might just put Fenty on one side to see, because that surprised me. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit of Fenty here. Now every time I've touched Fenty, I've thought, wow, that is, and there we go, see? Wow, huge impact. Way too much for me. And I really need to buff it out. I just think it is way too strong, incredibly strong. Look, and the way I deal with this is using the Sonia G Buffer Pro, but I do think that this highlighter for me, I need a tiny little bit, and also it's gone up towards my eye. Oops. I'm just going to powder there because I didn't want it getting close to my eye, which it did. That's another way to rescue if you go a bit mad with highlighter, is just go back in with your powder puff. So there's the Fenty Calm Down. I definitely prefer it once I've buffed it out. It is more controlled and not quite as wild. And now adding a little bit more of this new Natasha Denona Beautifier. See the difference? It's definitely different. On my hand it looks the same. So if you were to swatch this one in store, you might think that they're really similar because they do look so similar on my hand. But no, the Fenty one is, I'd say, triple the shine. Whereas the Natasha Denona is that really subtle shine, which I personally prefer. Although Fenty is very beautiful, but I just think it needs a little bit too much work for me because it really is a massive shine. So for me, the winner easily out of these, if I haven't made it very clear already, is this Natasha Denona one. So my overall experience today, I was expecting to say something like, this was okay. And I'm not. I'm so surprised. I'm so pleased with the finished look. I am I'm so delighted that I've actually found a new way of doing makeup, so thank you for that, Natasha, because I always use something like foundation or skin tint. I've never tried to do this. I've never thought that a little bit of concealer with a base like that would ever be enough for me to feel I've really corrected this area especially, and I'm really happy with the finish. I think this isn't maybe the finish I'd go for if it was for a really important evening where I want to have full glam effect, but if this is an everyday look, I am really pleased with it. Very quick to put this all together, all work beautifully together. This would be a really, really easy travel kit. And you've pretty much got your full face here with these three. Obviously you need a lippy and you need mascara, but that's it. So it really would be a great travel kit. So I'm over the moon with this. I'd love to know what you think. Have you tried the beautifier, or were you curious about it? And will you be trying it if you haven't already? I would love to hear down in the comment section below. And what do you think of the way I applied it today? Do you think the way I started is the best way to go? I would have thought I was saying no, I really would have, but I'm not. I really am not. Anyway, I'm super happy. Natasha Denona is one of my all-time favourite brands on the planet, and she's just impressed me yet again, so love it, love it, love it. Anyway, that's all from me for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, I would like it so much if you liked and subscribed, and if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for returning, and I hope to see all of you again for my next video. Take care everybody, bye!